Our next guest is the runner-up from Tough 14 and a current UFC Bantamweight champion. He is fighting Renan Barao in a highly anticipated rematch at UFC on Fox 16 in Chicago on July 25th. We created the nickname Dillashaw for him during one of his last appearances on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, TJ Dillashaw is back on Submission Radio. TJ, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
It's always good when you come on. Now, TJ, you are in the mountains. You're in Denver, Colorado. We presume you're training with your friend and coach, Dwayne Ludwig. Would that be correct?
Yes, I am. I've been up here. I go back and forth from here in Sacramento, but right now I'm up here for the week. Just doing some training, getting some altitude training in as well, which has been killing me this week. But yeah, it's been good. You know, Dwayne's got his own gym opened up here in Colorado at Ludwig MMA, and there's also a bunch of other good gyms to be able to train at and cross train. You know, learning new things while being out here.
Just curious, TJ, how is training going? Is it an easy transition going back and forth between Sacramento and Denver for you now that Dwayne's left?
Oh, it's definitely taking a little bit of work, to figure out the best schedule. And, I'm still in the process of doing that. I mean, I haven't really even started fight camp yet. I won't be 8 weeks out till the beginning of June. So right now it's just kind of, staying active, continuing to get better. I'll start hitting it hard when I'm 8 weeks out. But it's definitely taking some getting used to be able to travel back and forth and figure out the best time frames. I mean, coming out here and dealing with the altitude and rebuilding red blood cells and then going back home and recovering and then finding out just what are the best days to do what.
Yeah, we can imagine. Now, you almost fought Renan at UFC 186. However, unfortunately, you had to pull out due to a rib injury. How difficult was it for you to make that final decision that you weren't going to fight, and were you at all tempted to just go in the octagon anyway?
Absolutely. I thought I separated my rib at first when it happened. I was wrestling, and it wasn't like I got hit in the ribs. I was just doing a move I've done, thousands of times, which is just a good old switch for wrestling. And my rib just freakishly popped out. And, like I said, I thought I separated my ribs. So I was continuing to spar and do everything I could. But on one of the weekends I drove out to Colorado, it's like a 17-hour drive, and I noticed, every time I coughed or sneezed, it would hurt real bad. I couldn't fully turn, and I knew something was wrong, so I had to go and get an X-ray MRI, and I had to get a hold of the UFC to do that. And, coming up with a fractured rib, it wasn't even my call to be able to not take the fight. They wouldn't even the UFC wouldn't even let me fight with a fractured rib just because of the danger behind it.
Oh, wow. I guess this sort of answers my next question. I was going to say, sometimes it seems like, guys that aren't champions, they take a lot of fights, and then once, a lot of champions, you see they get a lot more injured, and we see them fighting less and less. Do you think, obviously with this one, it's a fractured rib, you can't fight, but do you think there's a lot of guys, and possibly yourself included, where now that you're a champion, it's harder to sort of fight with injuries because of the possibility of losing that title, whereas in the past you may have taken those fights because they were just another fight?
I mean, I can definitely see that because of the fact you have more to lose. I can see guys being a little bit more careful with things, but, like I said, this one was out of my hands. I couldn't say yes or no. This one was I couldn't even get medically cleared to fight. I mean, it's pretty dangerous. I mean, for one, I couldn't train with a broken rib because it wouldn't heal, and then two, I could can cause serious damage by puncturing a lung if something were to happen worse. So I mean, to answer your question, yes, I can see that the reason behind champions laying off due to injury. It's their call. They're the one wanting to go in there 100% because there's a lot on the line. And the challenger, he's getting that opportunity, so obviously he'll take it no matter what. But this was out of my hands. I didn't have a choice in the matter because I would have loved to fought in April. I want to get Renan Barao behind me, and I would have had more of my summer to enjoy.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. I mean, this rematch was originally supposed to take place in August of 2014. Once it takes place, it will almost be a full year since the original date. How does it weigh on your mind that the fight's been stretched out for so long? And will you be relieved once the saga is complete?
I guess I'll be a little bit relieved just to continue my legacy as a champ and to think of who I'm going to fight next and to move on. But it does make training a whole lot easier, training for the same guy. I know he's going to come out and make some changes and things he's going to do, but ultimately I'm training for the same guy. He can only change so much within a year. And like I said, it makes my game plan easier. It makes my training for my opponent easier, and so it's not the end of the world fighting Renan Barao and having to drag on this long. It's just I'm ready to create new fights and to like I said, put my legacy ahead of me and fight new people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are hoping that you fight Dominic Cruz. Now, both rematches with Renan have been scheduled for pay-per-views. How do you feel about this one being on a Fox card, obviously UFC on Fox 16? And let me just add to that, with the UFC's pay-per-view structure, they always want to add 2 title fights. That way, if one of them falls out, you still have at least one for the pay-per-view. In this case, you guys are the main event. You guys are the only title fight. Does that put more pressure on you?
No, not at all. And I'm excited for it to be on Fox because the fact that I'm gonna have that many more people watching my fight, watching a performance that I feel like I'm gonna do really great in, and it's gonna be nice to be viewed by more people. I'm definitely gonna probably take a pay cut from it, but that's not what it's all about. For me, it's about building my name and becoming a household name inside the UFC, and it's a great way to do it, to give the fans a great fight on free TV. And I definitely don't feel any pressure being the only title fight. I'm going to do the right things, train smart. And, my last injury was a freak accident. I was training the right ways. And as long as I continue to do what I've been doing, it'll be just fine. As long as he decides to make weight.
Yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing. Obviously
Yeah.
he's had some issues. He slipped, hit his head on a tub or something like that. Are you nervous at all that something close to the fight might happen with Renan himself? I mean, he's had an issue previously.
I mean, I really, really hope not. I don't think he will because of the fact that I think that would just the UFC would it'd be a bad look for him through the UFC, and it would hinder his career forever. I think if he does it again, I mean, I think it's just a lack of being a professional, of not making the weight, and to do it to the extreme that he had to do it to pass out the day of weigh-ins. You're not doing it the right ways if that's how it has to go, or you're just cutting too much weight.
Now, Renan Barao, he's recently been saying some things about you in the media, most notably saying that you're not a champion, you're a joker. What did you think? He basically said that he doesn't respect you as a champion. Nothing as far as personally, but as a champion, he doesn't respect you. What did you think of these comments?
I really didn't think too much in him. I mean, obviously he has to come back with something to stay relevant. I mean, if I'm not a champion, then he just got dominated by someone that he doesn't think is a champion. That's kind of funny to me as well. So I think he's just trying to stay relevant, act like he's got a shot in this fight, and talk as much crap as possible. Which I don't mind it because it's going to hype it up more for me.
Yeah, well, speaking of talking crap, he also said that during the stare down at a media event, he looked into your eyes and told you he will kick your ass. Do you recall anything like that? And what do you think about this new trash talking side of Brow?
It's kind of funny because I've never seen it from him, and now that I've beat him, he's got something to prove, and I think it's going to hinder his performance in the long run. If he's going to come out and fight with anger, or the fact that he's having to disguise being nervous. One of the two. I don't know what it is, but he's definitely changed who he was. I've never seen him talk crap before, any kind of stare downs or in the media, and now I put him in that place, which it to me, it's nothing but a confidence builder for me. And I do recall him actually saying something in a stare down. We were in Montreal for ticket sales. We're doing media day. And obviously I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know what he said, but obviously I knew he said something.
You beat Renan in your first fight. He's claiming that he's taken the belt back to Brazil after this rematch. How do you see the second fight playing out? Do you think it's going to be more of the same, or do you think it's going to be a different fight?
I gotta expect a different fight, but I'm thinking it's gonna be the same, but I gotta prepare for a different Renan Barao. I mean, he's gonna maybe change some things up, which I've been calculating myself and watching my fight and thinking of what his game plan is gonna be to try to beat me and being ready for it. I can't underestimate how he's gonna be. I gotta expect the hardest fight, 5-round war. And if it goes my way easily again, then so be it. But I'm going to prepare for the worst.
Well, people have said that this has been the most personal rivalry of your MMA career. Some guys fight better when they're emotional or when they don't like their opponent. Just wondering, how do you feel about fights where there's a personal element involved?
And my aspect of it, I don't feel like there. I mean, for me, there's not a personal aspect in it. To me, it's just continue to hold on to the belt. And just winning the fight. He might be taking it more personal than I am. I've been kind of laughing off everything he says and just speaking the truth and what I think is going on. So for me, it's not personal. I don't hold a grudge. I don't dislike the guy. I think he's a great fighter, and I have nothing against him. But he's definitely not getting the belt back.
Sure. Well, you originally won the title about a year ago from Barao, and you've been dominant since. How much do you think that you've improved in the past year, and how different of a TJ Dillashaw will Renan Barao be facing compared to the one that he fought previously?
I wouldn't say so much different, but just better. Just everything I do, I'm doing it better. I'm sharpening all my tools. I'm adding new things to my game that's going to surprise him. There's things that I didn't even show in my first fight against him that I can prove that I'm better at as well. I have the wrestling pedigree. I can put him on his back, and I feel like my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu can outwork him as well on the ground. So, this fight, I might even beat him on the ground just to confuse him and to keep him guessing, or I might put on another striking clinic. That's the thing that I feel like has gotten me to where I'm at, is to keep my opponent guessing, never to let him understand what I'm going to try to do. If I'm going to be taking him down or if I'm going to be using it to strike with him. And there's a lot that I haven't shown, even just against Barao, that I'm going to surprise him with.
Now, you won the title from Renan after a 3-month layoff when you beat Mike Easton. How do you think the long layoff will affect you this time around, given that this will officially be the longest layoff of your entire MMA career?
It's been the longest layoff of competing, but I've actually been in the gym just as much, if not more. I've had a lot of downtime that I've had to deal with, and for me, it's getting into the gym. Obviously, I wasn't able to go 100% when I have a broken rib or got surgery on my elbow, but no matter what, I was in there getting better. So for me, it just feels like I've been in a really long training camp and going through peaks and valleys and knowing when to rest and knowing when to hit it hard. But I've been doing I haven't been taking any breaks, that's for sure.
Now, if everything goes to plan against Renan Barao, how many times do you hope to fight in 2015? Will we see you look to sort of gain momentum and make up for lost time?
Sure. As long as I'm healthy and everything goes as planned, I'm willing to fight as much as possible. That's the only way I'm making money right now is fighting, and I'd like to do it as much as possible. And staying healthy is most important. And if I can do so, I can't tell you how many times I'm going to fight this year, but obviously I'm hoping this one, which will be halfway through the year, and then I'll at least get one more, if not two in. I know it'll be tough to get two in, but definitely another one.
Oh, yeah, no, very exciting stuff. Now, TJ, we let the fans know you're coming on the show, so we picked out a few fan questions here, and they have a internet username, so it's not their real name, so don't be freaked out by some of their names. The first one comes from Tiger Punch, so obviously not someone's real name, or if it is, that's an awesome name, and their mother should be congratulated. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm going to steal that name for my kids one day if I have a kid. But Tiger Punch would like to know, I'd love to hear your official prediction for the Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor fight. Also, would you be interested in a champion versus champion fight if McGregor does win, and how would that go between you two?
So first part of the question, I think it's going to be a really close fight, actually. I think Aldo is the better all-around fighter, and that he's the one that could beat more guys in the weight class. But I think that McGregor has the style to match up against Aldo. Aldo's always been known to stay on his feet, even though he's got a decent ground game. And I feel that McGregor's got the right distance. He's a big 45-pounder. I like that he's a southpaw against Aldo. I think that's what's going to give him a lot of trouble. And it's going to be a close fight. I'm predicting that Aldo's going to tough it out. He's been in those wars, so he's going to know how to continue to push and beat him. But, it's going to be close. McGregor's bringing a lot of confidence to the table and the right kind of style to beat Barao or to beat Aldo. And I would love to do a champion versus champion fight. That's like my next goal. The goal was to become best in the world in my weight class, and I've done it. I need to obviously stay dominant and hold my belt and continue to do so, but I would love to in the future, fight champion versus champion and go up a weight class and do that. That's my main goal now.
Yeah, that would be super. Just to finish off Tiger Punch's question, just in case he ever finds us on the street somehow, how would you see that go between you two? How would you see that fight play out?
Well, obviously, I'm going to believe in myself and I'm going to win that fight. I feel that I can hold my own with him striking. I know he's a big 45-pounder, so his reach would give me a little bit of trouble. But being able to work my way in and use my wrestling pedigree, I think I'd be able to wear him out and keep him guessing. And I would win that fight against McGregor or Aldo. I'd beat whoever's going to win the fight. I will beat either of them.
Great analysis. We haven't had a single pro who actually picked anyone specifically. Everyone's talking about how close of a fight it is. Earthworm Dan, I'm going to assume that's definitely a username. Otherwise, that's one lucky dude out there. His question is, TJ, just wondering if you're happy with the new Reebok deal numbers that have been released by the UFC. Many fans thought that the numbers were a little bit low, especially for the champions who would make more money. Are these numbers a good or bad thing in your opinion? Just to follow up on Earthworm Dam's question, you mentioned that fighting is the only way you're making money at the moment.
Yeah, it's tough. Especially for some guys that had some big contracts with other sponsors that are losing lots and lots of money. And for guys like me, say if I wasn't the champion, I'd only be getting paid $5,000 a fight, which is pretty ridiculous. And I do like the fact that we're going to have a uniform deal and that we're all going to be wearing the same kind of stuff and looking more like other professional sports. But yeah, I do agree that I think the pay's a little light, on all aspects, not only just for the champion, but for everyone. I mean, getting into the UFC and fighting on TV, I feel like sponsor-wise and endorsements, you should be making more than they're paying,
Mm.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Final fan question before we jump to the tap out round. This one's from Mr. Potato Head MMA. I think by now we've determined these aren't their real names.
That's clearly a real name.
He goes, TJ, I'm a huge fan. So there you go. He just wanted to get your thoughts. He goes, just wanted to get your thoughts on this whole John Jones situation. As a fellow champion, what did you think when you heard the news about John?
Oh man, it's super unfortunate. I hope he can get his life together and get back out there. It sucks. I've always told everyone I'm kind of glad that I'm as old as I am when I won the belt, because I've had to do a lot of growing up myself, and I feel, I think John Jones came into stardom while he was still growing up, and I'm sure that's pretty hard to handle, and it's real unfortunate. I really do hope he can clean up and get his act together and come back, because he was a great champion, pound for pound the best fighter in the world. It's real unfortunate to see someone go out that way.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Now, TJ, as you know by now, we're going to wrap up the interview with the Submission Radio tap-out round. You've done this twice before. All the tough questions are all done. All the hard parts over. Now it's just it's all easy. So the first question is,
I don't know. These ones are almost these are the harder questions for me, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to trick you. This is the business end. These are the hard questions, all right?
Yeah,
we'll start off nice and slow. What's the funniest place you've ever worn the belt, TJ?
Funniest place I've worn it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to carry it around. Obviously, I went up to Canada with it and whatnot. But other than wearing it, I mean, I wore it the night I won it, and for a couple of photo shoots. But that's it, man. It stays on the shelf, and I've taken it to some media obligations I've had to go to. But that's just carrying it, I've got it wrapped around the shoulder. But wearing it wise, it's just I like to keep it for the night of winning it or defending it. I like to keep it special.
There's no times you walk around the house in like a baggy t-shirt or like underwear and just the belt, nothing like that.
Well, there are things I can't really talk about. I wear just the belt around the house sometimes.
Nice.
But that's my personal life.
I'm gonna go as you for Halloween now. This one's actually from a username by the name of Bisexual MMA. He wants to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable was the experience of shooting the Team Alpha Male calendar? And also, this comment's just from us. Did you channel your inner George Costanza for the ultimate art of seduction for it?
It was fine. I mean, we had a great photographer, Sam Hahn. It was fun to play around with, and just a way to create money for our team. It is kind of funny seeing him sold now, and all of us all flexed out on a calendar. Is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I definitely practiced my moves. I did some Zoolander looks, and got ready for the shoot. I felt really prepared for it.
Nice. What are your thoughts on Paige Van Zandt, TJ? Do you believe she could hang in there with Joanna and win the title?
I hope they don't push her too fast. She's definitely going to be a superstar. She's a hard worker. She's gonna. I mean, she's already blowing up. Just from her last. She's only had 2 fights in the UFC, and she's getting a lot of attention, which is great for her career. She still has a lot to work on. Her work ethic is there. It just needs to, tune up some things. And in the future, yes, I definitely do think she will give Joanna a good run for her money, as long as they don't push her too fast.
Now, you tweeted out that you've been loving riding your Harley Davidson bike lately that you won in your last fight. Just a question for you, TJ. Ever consider growing out the hair, donning a full mustache, getting a frilly suede jacket, getting the wife to jump on the back, and just ride towards the sunset, man? Ride towards the sunset.
Yes to all of that, except for I can't grow a mustache. It'd be like a very dirty looking, like I'd call it more like a crust stash.
Crustache.
Because I just can't grow a mustache. I mean, I can grow facial hair, but a mustache just won't grow in.
I feel like crustaches are going to become a thing now. There's a lot of people listening like, yes, me too. I have that affliction as well.
Just a super thin, like dirty looking mustache.
Yeah, like
call it a crustache.
Like those people in like primary school that start to grow mustaches like way ahead of everybody.
Yeah, that's what my mustache looks like.
Speaking of marriage, TJ, we spoke about your car being a locker room, as you put it, during one of our interviews. Have you ever gotten out of a chore around the house by saying, I'm TJ Dillashaw, the world champion, damn it. I'll take the trash out when I'm good and ready.
I've tried, but it doesn't work, man. I thought for sure it would work, but it doesn't at all. The wife doesn't go for it. You know, she's still the boss of the house, even though I got the belt. And that'll never change. Unfortunately, that'll never change.
And still.
I tried the same thing with a girlfriend. I go, I'm submission ready, damn it. She goes, who? What's submission ready? Now, TJ, what's TJ Dillashaw's song of the year so far? Give us your song of the year so far.
What do you mean song of the year? Like a new song that's coming out?
Yeah. What are you listening to? What's funky that you enjoy listening to, and you think, hey, this might be TJ Dillashaw's official song of the year?
Shoot, man, I wish I would have thought of that. I don't know. I listen to pretty much just everything. Other than country, I don't listen to too much country. I've been listening to a lot of house music when I work out just because of the tempo and beat. But I'm a huge Chili Peppers fan. So no, they haven't come out with anything new. But I guess their newest song that I like is "Rain Dance Maggie." Mm-hmm. It's a good song.
I like "Let It Go" from Frozen.
Huh? Okay.
Let It Go from Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they need to do a cover of that. Strangest place you've ever been recognized, TJ?
It's always just weird getting recognized in the men's bathroom. You know, it's like so awkward. You're like, for one, you're trying to go to the bathroom, and then two, someone wants to shake your hand, and you don't know if they've washed your hands, and you definitely haven't washed yours yet. So it's, it's always this awkward kind of like, oh, I'll wait for you outside.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you outside the restroom. That's always the weirdest spots, I guess.
Well, speaking of the everyday Joes that approach you, as a fighter, you must get regular, everyday advice from sort of fans wherever you go. What's the worst advice you ever gotten from a fan?
Oh, man, there's too much to even remember. I think you get the horrible advice every single day. There's always the internet warriors that don't want to tell you how to fight and what to do and what you're doing wrong. Shoot, I couldn't put my thumb on one. I can go probably log on to my Twitter right now and then tell you.
Yeah, there's probably heaps there. Second last question, TJ. Joseph Benavidez, he's a movie connoisseur. We've had many long discussions about furniture made of mahogany and great movies. What's the most disappointing movie recommendation from the Beefcake?
Oh, God. We were out here in Denver, and we had to go watch this movie that came out. Inherent Vice, I think it's called.
Never heard of it.
He's like a big fan of the guy that makes the movie, and he took me, Lance, Danny, and himself to the movies, and he was talking it up and thinking how good it was going to be, and it was horrible. It was probably one of the worst movies I ever watched.
The Beefcake. That's not the first time. Chad said he's given out some dodgy ones as well. I feel bad for you guys. Now, finally, give us the official prediction. How are you beating Renan Barao at UFC on Fox 16 on July 25th? Time to get serious. Give us the official prediction, TJ. How's it going to happen?
I'm finishing him in the third round. I'm going to finish him probably TKO once again.
Wow, we like how precise that prediction is. Guys, you can follow TJ on Twitter at TJ Dillashaw, and of course catch his big fight with Renan Barao at UFC on Fox 16, July 25th in Chicago, Chi-Town. TJ, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for doing it. And if you need a good movie, Dennis and I just saw Ex Machina, so definitely check that one out.
What was it? Ex Machinist?
Ex Machina.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Carl Noak saw it as well. Once again, man, thank you so much for doing the show.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me on again.